Hello, 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 hello. I know you've missed me. It's upside down Miss Hog in your eye. Okay, so I saw some of you last night, I guess, well, this is Monday night for me. I saw some of y'all picking up your packets, and it made my heart happy. For those of you that I missed from yesterday morning, Monday morning, I just know that I would be waving and smiling and making me get full out of myself to tell you hi. I also really miss you, but filming this live from my room, which, guys, this is kind of funny. So, my husband's a gamer, so he's got, like, his computer. It's real nice. Got this nice computer thing going here. I don't know what that is. And then, the funny thing is that we live with his parents, obviously, because we're building a house. So our bedroom is his sister's room from growing up. So we have all of our stuff in, like, a small space. But, you know, it works, and it is what it is, and we're grateful to have the space. So I kind of just wanted to, you know, give you a little intro. So, we do need to get down to some algebra, because, you know, that's fun, and I know you've been missing it, so I'm going to, you know, satisfy your heart tonight, and give you some good algebra. So, we're going to head back to some factoring, because it's fun. We're going to do 9.2, so I want you to get on this page, and if you notice that the notes were cut, and then they're small, you guys, if you wanted, and you want to, you know, organize your notes better than just keeping them in this big, huge packet, you can, I made them small so you could cut them and then tape them or glue them into your journal. So go ahead and do that if you want to. That's totally up to you. But you have everything you need. Also, I had a question yesterday. Thank you, Caitlin Kill. I know some of you don't have a graphing calculator, but you can feel free to use that app I gave you. It's the Calculator X app, Calculator X, and it's kind of a knockoff version of the TI-83s that we use in class, and it's on your phone. So, yeah. Anyways. Okay, so let's get started. I just want to tell you, I don't have my Flair pens, so I'm having to use boring pen ink colors. But that's okay. So, we're going to be solving quadratics by factoring, and the solutions to a quadratic equation are the x-intercepts. So if you look at this graph right here, let me turn on this light, trying to get the lighting. Ooh, bright. It might be too bright. Let's see here. Sorry. Okay. So now my hands are blue. So if you see this graph right here, it's a parabola, obviously. You can see what the solutions are by where it crosses the x-axis at the x-intercepts. Oh, that's obviously not it. Sorry, it's been a long day. Right there, there, and there. And so those would be your solutions. So we could put coordinate point pairs here for just these two spots where they cross the x-axis. And that's going to be, on this one it's -1, 0. And on this one it's 2, 0. Right? So this is 2, 0. This is -1, 0. So this should make sense to you, because if you go back to lesson 9.1 that you should have done yesterday, or if you were at school last Monday, it's what we did last Monday, then the x-intercepts occur when we set everything equal to 0. Remember how we are setting things equal to 0? So these are all y equals 0, and so that should make sense. The solutions are. Those solutions are also called, you might hear them called other things like the roots and the zeros. Okay? And I feel like that should have an ES, OES. I don't really know for sure, but that looks best to me. They're called the zeros of the function. So you might hear them called solutions, roots, or zeros, but it all is when you set these equal to 0. Okay, so let's recall 9.1 was x minus 2 and x plus 1 equals 0. We had to solve for x. So what we were doing here was we were taking each one of those binomials and we were setting them equal to 0 and solving. So that became x equals 2, and then x plus 1 equals 0. That became x equals -1, right? So that's your 0 product, because we set it equal to 0. That's where you get that 0 from. Alright, so now let's look at this quadratic equation right here. We see it's quadratic because it has a parabola here, an x squared term. Y equals x squared minus x minus 2. The solutions occur when y equals 0. So we're going to set the quadratic equal to 0. So we would say x squared minus x minus 2 equals 0. And I just took the y out and set it equal to 0. Well, what that really means is it means you got to factor it. So we're going to go back, way back to last unit. Remember, when you factor a trinomial, you look at this last digit here, and you think to yourself, what are the factors of 2 when added together would make a -1? Factors of -2, actually, would added together would make a -1. So -2 and 1, -1 and 2. Those are your factors of -2, right? So when added together, which one of these pairs makes a -1? Because that's what the middle term is. It's -2 and 1. So x minus 2 and x plus 1. Okay, so that's what that is factored, right? So now we have it where we had it yesterday, and we're just going to set each of those equal to 0 and solve for x. X equals 2, and then I'm going to set this one equal to 0. X plus 1 equals 0, and that becomes x equals -1. So your solutions are 2 and -1. That's the answer. Okay. So let's go to the next page. We're going to use factoring to solve the quadratics. Okay. So we have y equals x squared plus 7x plus 10. So what we want to do first is what? What did we do last time? We set it equal to 0. X squared plus 7x plus 10 equals 0. Okay. Well, now we have to treat it as a trinomial, and we're going to factor it. So we're going to take 10, and we're going to figure out what factors of 10, when added together, will equal a 7. So we have 5 and 2. Hey, that works, right? 5 times 2 is positive 10. 5 plus 2 is positive 7. So we have x plus 2 and x plus 5. So when we set those equal to 0, you get a -2 and then a -5. So those are your two solutions. X equals -2 and x equals -2 and x equals -5. Those are your solutions. Okay? Let's do number 4. We have f of x here, what's f of x the same as? Y equals. So we're going to set that equal to 0. 5x squared minus 10x equals 0. So if we were just to take out the 0, because we don't really need that there, what I want you to do is I want you to factor this. Do y'all remember what this is? What do we do first here? What do you see here? We have a GCF. So we have to factor out the GCF. The greatest common factor of this binomial here. It's not a trinomial, so we can't do what we did over here. Okay, we can't factor it like that. It's a binomial. So we have to take out the GCF if there is one, and then look for difference of squares. So the GCF is going to be a 5. We're going to take 5 out because 5 goes into both of these. Ooh, a 5 and an x, right? 5x. And we're left with x minus, what's 10 divided by 5? 2. So we're left with x minus 2 because we factored that x out. They both have an x in common. So now the answer is, we have one more step to do because we have 5x and then x minus 2. We're going to set that equal to 0. And this is just like we did in 9.1, the lesson from yesterday or last Monday. When you have a coefficient in front of the term here, the binomial term, you just set that equal to 0 itself. And so you have 5x equals 0. Divide the 5 off the x. And so you just get 0. That's one solution. And then x minus 2 equals 0. And that's going to give you a positive 2. That's your other solution. 0 and positive 2. Okay. Let's do number 7. Okay, so let's just look at this part because we would be setting that equal to 0. So we got to factor this. This is a binomial, so we can't factor it like a trinomial. There's no GCF to pull out. But what do you see about this? Difference of squares. Yay, x squared and 25 are both squares. So we can take the square root of each. Remember? You have one's plus and one's minus. Right? So now we can set each of those equal to 0. X plus 5 equals 0. X minus 5 equals 0. And get our two solutions. So this one's going to be negative 5. And this one's going to be a positive 5. Right? 5 and negative 5. Okay. And let's do number 8 before you start doing your homework. Make sure. Yep. Homework's the next page. So we have a binomial here. So first we need to see if we can pull out a GCF. There's nothing that goes into 4 that also goes into 81. So we can't pull out a GCF. So now we look and see if there's difference of squares. 4 is 4 a square? Yep. Is 81? Yep. Is x squared a square? Yep. So now we're going to factor that using difference of squares. So 4x squared, what's the square root of 4x squared? 2x, right? 2x times 2x equals 4x squared. And then 81 is 9, right? That's the square root of 81. So one's plus and one's minus. So now we have to set those equal to 0. 2x minus 9 equals 0 to solve for x. So now we're going to move 9 to the other side, and we get 2x equals 9 divided by 2, and so x equals 9 over 2. Keep it in that improper fraction. We don't typically put, when we're factoring, we won't put things in decimal form, so I know you're going to be wanting to say 4.5 there, but just leave it in 9 over 2. And then over here, 2x plus 9 equals 0. This becomes 2x equals negative 9. Divide the 2 off. You get x equals negative 9 over 2. So those are your two x's. Okay. So that's all we're... Oh, wait. Let's do number... Sorry. Let's do one more. Let's do number 9. It has the star by it. Let's see what we can figure out of why it has this asterisk by it. So when you look at this first, x squared equals 100. Well, that's weird, right? It doesn't look like all the others. All the others are like y equals x squared minus 100, or y equals a trinomial. But it just says x squared equals 100. So we are going to have to move this 100 over to the other side so it's with the x squared term, okay? So then you get x squared minus 100 equals 0. Well, now it's in a good form. So now we can take difference of squares here, because it's difference, it's subtraction now. You could say x plus 10 and x minus 10. You can set both of those equal to 0. So our solution here is a negative 10. And then our solution here is a positive 10. So negative 10 and positive 10 are your solutions. Okay. So let's look at the homework. So it just says solve by factoring. So I'll do the first one with you. This is a trinomial. So we're going to look at this last digit, factors of 5 or negative 5 that equal negative 4. So x minus 5, x plus 1, right? And then set both of those equal to 0. You get 5 and negative 1. Those are your two solutions. Alright, let's look at number 8. What do you see about this one? It's not a trinomial, so you can't factor it like we just did. It's a binomial. It's not difference of squares yet because negative 12 is not a square. So, or 12 is not a square. So what should we do? I hope you're saying a GCF, Miss Hogg. We should do a GCF. We should pull out the greatest common factor, and in which case you would be correct. So we can say, what do these two terms have in common? Well, definitely a 6 and an x. So we're going to factor out a 6 and an x, and we're left with just an x, right? Because when we do 6x squared divided by 6x, it leaves us just with an x. And you can backwards FOIL that and say 6x times x is 6x squared, right? So 6x and minus 2. 6x times negative 2 is negative 12x equals 0. Okay, so 6x equals 0 divided by 6. So you just get x equals 0. And then x minus 2 equals 0. You get x equals 2. Okay, so I want you to do the rest of these, all of them. And then when you're done with that, look on the back. On the back is a word problem. The area of a rectangle can be expressed as x squared plus 3x plus 2. So this is a trinomial. If the area is 12 square feet, what are the possible values for x? Well, let's look at this. Okay, so the area equals x squared plus 3x plus 2, right? And then they tell us the area is 12. A equals 12. So we just plug in what we know here. 12 equals x squared plus 3x plus 2, right? Well, we can't leave it like this. We have to get it to where it equals 0. So we're going to need to move this number over here. So how do we move a number over? We just, if it's a positive number, we subtract it. If it's a negative number, we add it. So we're going to subtract 12, from both sides. And you get 0 over here equals x squared plus 3x minus 10. Because you had a positive 2 and a negative 12. So now go with this and do what we've been doing. Factor that out, set it equal to 0, and you'll get two solutions. So I want you to do that. And then I'll see you tomorrow. I do want to say I plan on going back to the school soon. If I've missed your birthday, if it was last week or last weekend or yesterday, Monday, I'm really sorry and happy birthday. If we do get to go back to school, I'm hoping we do, because I didn't even get a chance to tell you guys bye. you, Travis. If we do get a chance to go back to school, I do want to tell you that I will be giving you birthday passes when we return. So, yay. Okay. Well, that's it for tonight. Just like you guys, I'm making different arrangements and trying to do this a little bit different. And so, if it wasn't as good as it normally is for my classroom, that's why. But we can make it work because we're flexible. And you're awesome. So have a good night or a good morning whenever you watch this. And I look forward to seeing you Tuesdays and Thursdays at your appointed time by class period on Zoom. Yay. Bye.